always excited when it's a football Monday. Here he is. Look at him, excited. We are breaking it down with NBA insider Amin Elhassan. What do you like on the show today, Amin?
Oh, former Patriot Dion with the world's worst criticism of the Patriots.
Dale, papi.
How do you foresee Jimmy Butler coexisting with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Markelle Fultz?
Oh, now we have our answer. Whoa, Fultz is the name. That's dangerous in his second language. Now we have our answer, though, for why NBA insider Amin Elhassan is here on a Football Monday. This trade right here that sent reverberations throughout the basketball weekend, and I'm just curious how it's going to end up. That will be a championship contender if Jimmy Butler is their third best player. That will not be a championship contender if he goes there thinking he's their best player, is taking all the fourth quarter shots, is taking some of Ben Simmons' time to grow. I don't know which it'll be. I just saw it fail spectacularly in Minnesota with two lesser players than the ones he joins now. But I'd like to see it, and we'll see if Jimmy Butler, with an extension, can be more hospitable, more professional, and a better teammate than he was in Minnesota.
Where are all these wild accusations coming from, Dan? The guy went to Minnesota to help toughen those guys up, help teach them how to win. Those guys weren't winners. When he didn't want to be there anymore, he had to get out of there. And so what do you do when you want to get out and they won't trade you? You make a mess. This idea that Jimmy Butler is somehow a chronic mess maker is ridiculous. He was trying to get out of a bad situation. He was asking to be traded. It wasn't being honored, so he had to make the mess to get out. Now that he's out of that mess, he's on a team with two truly elite players. Not just stat fillers, but guys who are winners. When you talk about Simmons and Embiid, he doesn't have to coach them up on competitiveness and effort. They've already got that. He's just got to fill in a role, and that is to be the elite wing to the elite point guard to the elite center.
Look, I got told again and again that Jimmy Butler was a winner, is a winner. He doesn't have that much winning on his resume. Him calling Ben Simmons a winner when the guy got his coach fired at LSU and won 14 games in a season and wasn't even the NIT is fairly amazing.
College doesn't count.
Did you hear what Stephen A. Smith said about the trade?
Full wrestling promo.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Butler of Philadelphia 76ers. This is what I'm talking about right here. See, this is why I love the NBA so much. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about Boston. We've been talking about Toronto. We've been talking about Milwaukee. But now it's about the Philadelphia 76ers. They got a dog in the city of brotherly love. You're talking about Joel Embiid. You wanted to be league MVP. There's no excuse now. There's nothing standing in your way. Ben Simmons, you're a jump shot away from being a champion because you, with Embiid, with Butler, can make that kind of noise. Either way you slice it. I love what I'm seeing. I love what's going on right now. The great freaking Milwaukee. We'll see Toronto with Kawhi Leonard. We'll see the Boston Celtics with the crew. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, the whole bit. It doesn't matter anymore. This is what it's all about. This is basketball, baby. Jimmy Butler, a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. A dog is in the house. A dog is in the house.
4 seed.
Is Melo being used as a scapegoat for the Rockets' struggles?
That is what Dwayne Wade is alleging on Twitter. Dwayne Wade, who is on paternity leave with the Miami Heat, he is defending his good friend Melo, who has been terrible in Houston. And Chris Paul as well is saying, respect what Melo's been. He's a Hall of Famer. But that team is so broken, it needs to make a change. And many of us saw this coming. Everybody was telling you that this was not a good fit, including this guy very loudly.
This guy was saying it loudly, but even louder than the defensive struggles that they had that we expected is the offensive struggles. Dan, this was one of the most historic offenses of all time a year ago, and now they're the worst shooting team in the NBA. They have the 4th worst defensive rating in the NBA. Let me tell you some names of teams that have a better offense than the Rockets. The Cleveland Cavaliers. Can you name their starting lineup? I can't. They're better at offense than the Rockets. That doesn't make sense. But here's the thing. Our good friends at Second Spectrum, they got this nifty little stat. It's a shot quality stat. It lets you know what we expect them to shoot based on the shot selection, based on who's shooting it, where, and how close the defenders are. And Second Spectrum tells us that the Rockets have the 4th best shot selection in the NBA, 4th best shot quality, in the NBA, but they've got the worst shooting percentage. I expect that to come back to earth. Melo's been terrible, but that's not his fault.
That might even out, but the most damning things, if you're looking at the Rockets, is that Chris Paul is 33 with a lot of miles and injury on that body, and James Harden doesn't quite look like the MVP candidate that he was last year. That's where your problems start. It's not about Trevor Ariza, it's not about Melo. It's those two guys.
Is Dion Lewis right that the Patriots' cheapness cost them?
Cheapness is the word that he used. I don't know how that sounded, but cheapness is what Dion Lewis is alleging. He used to be with the Patriots. The Titans produced the single biggest surprise of the weekend because of how they won. And listen to what he had to say, gloating afterward.
Yeah, it's a real sweet win, especially when you used to be there and they didn't want to bring you back. So definitely real sweet. I'm happy my teammates came out and played, and I love these guys.
So it is a little personal.
Hell yeah, it's personal. That's what happens when you go cheap. You get your kicked.
That is a lot of talk from a guy who carried the ball 20 times for 57 yards yesterday, had 2 catches for 11 yards, and is so interchangeable that I, an alleged football expert on this network in the middle of the daytime television programming, had no idea which one of the running backs who catches passes for the Patriots this guy actually was, because they've had 15 of them since Kevin Falk, and he's just one of them.
You know what's bizarre is that he criticized the Patriots for their cap management. Really? This is like saying the Warriors' three-point shooting is going to come back to bite them in the This is like saying The Rock's work ethic is going to come back to bite him in the This is the single most moronic criticism you could ever have of the Patriots. Of course they're cheap. This is how they keep winning. These are all interchangeable parts, and when someone comes up on their contract and they're about to get paid a lot of money, they let some other sucker pay for it.
The problem isn't that the Patriots let him go. The problem is the Titans got $20 million in cap space on a guy the Patriots have 15 of.
Do you still expect the Eagles to get it together?
This question is taunting me because I've been saying for weeks now, hey, they're the best team in the division. No one in the division is that good. But now they've lost 3 straight games at home, and this one to the Cowboys after a bye week, and they can't run the football. That team won the Super Bowl last year with Nick Foles as the Super Bowl MVP, not because of Nick Foles, because that offensive line was exceptional. It has not been this year. They can't run the ball, and so all they did was have Carson Wentz throwing it all over the place. He has no timing with Alshon, and on top of that, we don't know how healthy he is. With no running game, they are a diluted version of the champions we saw last year. My analysis had been that they were good enough to win that division, that they were separated from the rest of the teams in that division, but they've clearly fallen right back into the grouping in an awful division.
It doesn't look good for the Eagles, guys. They have the toughest strength of schedule from here on out. At the Rams, at the Saints. They play the Redskins, the division-leading Redskins, twice. They still have to play the Cowboys on the road. No, sir. 23% chance is what ESPN Analytics gives them, and I think that's too much.
He was better on that analysis than I was. He's the NBA guy.
Well, they got the answer. All they got to do is make one change. They got the answer in the bench. Nick Foles, he won the championship for them last year. They got the MVP of the Super Bowl and the league last year, and the guy's running the bench. It's a time now to make a change. Otherwise, all hell is going to break loose. We want Foles back. We want Nicky back. We want Foles back. We want Nicky back. We want Foles back. We want Nicky back. We want Foles back. We want Nicky back.
That's weird.
It sounded like you were saying we want Nickelback.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable, did someone say Andy Reid?
What happened here with Andy Reid? Thank you. Actually, this makes everything better. Look, back then, he was all about fun. Look at him. Throw the ball deep, celebrate your throws deep. You're 7 times larger than the other 12-year-olds.
My Son's TV show is brought to you by Domino's. Order online and track your... Time for more football and some lovable hijinks.
We like hijinks.
Are the Saints clearly the best team in the NFL?
They looked like it yesterday because they steamrolled Cincinnati in Cincinnati. That's what Andy Dalton tends to look like when A.J. Green is not around. But the Saints scored on their first 9 possessions, and the position has never been played any better than Drew Brees is now playing it. The precision with which he is throwing the football is so uncommon that there is no stopping this. There is no stopping it with brackets, with double coverage. He just keeps throwing to spaces, and it doesn't matter that there are defenders there. The way that he is playing, they can obviously beat anybody.
He's been brilliant. The offense has been amazing, but I don't trust that defense. Look, When you look at almost every single metric, even the pace-adjusted ones, the defense for the Saints is meh at best. And when it comes to picking who the best team is, I like a little bit more well-rounded in my gumbo, if you know what I mean. And so I'm going with the LA Rams, not just because I'm in LA a lot and I'm trying to pander, but because it's a complete team.
Another very complete team that we are ignoring because it has lost twice is the Chargers. They're not even in the show today. And I think that Phillip Rivers is now allowed to officially leave that purgatory where he was down for 6 straight seasons by 8 points with no timeouts at the end of the game and had to go 80 yards. And a new replacement has been found. Russell Wilson, congratulations. You have now entered Phillip Rivers' purgatory.
You know who has the best job in the NFL?
Who's that, Puppy?
The punter for the Saints.
Oh, look at him.
There you have it.
19 punts this season. That is how he was dressed the entire game yesterday. He never bothered to put on his uniform. Never used his leg.
My dream once upon a time was to be an NFL punter. So easy. There's no pressure.
What a strange low bar on a dream, huh?
Was Tyreek Hill's touchdown celebration worth the penalty?
It was so much fun here. It was an homage to Ocho Cinco done well. Celebration. Andy Reid was really upset about it after the game, but I'm here for this kind of fun. This is 15 yards worth of fun.
Wait, was he really upset? Or was that just kind of the thing you have to do when you get into the press conference? I talked to Tyreek and that's unacceptable. But behind closed doors, you can't tell me they're not laughing.
No,
that's hilarious.
No, behind closed doors, Andy Reid is using that exact voice to castigate Tyreek Hill. That's right.
Did someone say Andy Reid?
What happened here with Andy Reid? Thank you. Actually, this makes everything better. Look, back then, he was all about fun. Look at him. Throw the ball deep, celebrate your throws deep. You're 7 times larger than the other 12-year-olds.
Why is every other contestant there 7 years old?
That's video of an adult Andy Reid clearly throwing footballs against children.
Do you think Raiders owners, Mark Davis, is still putting all the blame on himself?
He did an interview after yet another loss from the Raiders, and they look awful in every way. Incompetent and diluted on offense when John Gruden is there, at least in part, to make your quarterback look better, and Derek Carr has regressed. So Mark Davis does an interview, and he says it's all his fault. John Gruden wanted to keep Khalil Mack, that everything is on him, and so far through 9 games, you might as well put it there, because what John Gruden inherited wasn't very good, and it's gotten worse, at least in part because of how they've mismanaged that cap, giving all of that money to a quarterback who is young but has regressed.
You know what's funny? Does he blame himself? There's only one other person he could blame, John Gruden, but since he's the guy that hired John Gruden, then yes, he should blame himself. It is his fault.
The reason they don't have Khalil Mack is because they gave all that money to Derek Carr. As the Bears are better at defense, as the Bears are looking really good with Khalil Mack getting a couple more sacks yesterday, they chose Derek Carr over Khalil Mack because of the position he plays, but Derek Carr isn't as good at that position as Khalil Mack is at his.
No, Dan. Don't you remember? Khalil Mack isn't a Raider because he doesn't want to be here anymore.
Well, look at that, the bright side. Only 9.5 more years of Gruden, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's like 9 years and 5 games or 6 games. It's not even. We're past the halfway point on the first year.
That's right. Highly questionable. My Son's TV show is brought to you by Walmart. Light up your Christmas at Walmart. Time to play the game that love being an instigator. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, and we question them. That was a means line, but I wanted to keep the joke, and he wasn't going to do it right, so let's move on.
Do you question LeBron's defensive effort?
The Lakers have won 3 in a row. They won last night with a late dunk from LeBron and a block from Tyson Chandler. But we're going to show you, during a victory against Sacramento, the one place where he can hate on LeBron, and it's funny. This is not much of an effort here from LeBron James. Thank you for the arrow. Yeah. And then there it is. Well, wait a minute. It worked. It totally worked. That guy jumping off the bench, the Laker jumping off the bench to holler worked.
That's Lance.
Lance. And then how's that for JaVale basketball at the end right there?
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018-2019 Lakers.
Yeah.
Did you see what LeBron said about himself last night?
No.
I'm garbage.
My father's been saying that for years.
Do you question if number 40 deserves credit for blocking this punt?
Okay, number 40. Does he play for Lafayette or does he play for Army? Because Army is 8-2. And what do we have here? We've got a punting situation. Lafayette is punting. Oh, I hate when this happens. Yeah, you just wanted to do one of those punts that was a bit of a squib, and instead...
Oh, hit him in the face. In the face.
And that's the best way for that to happen. It's where it hurts the least if it hits you right in the face.
I saw a more impressive block involving Army this weekend.
Was it playing against Duke in basketball?
Oh, no. Look at Zion.
With another blocked
So
out.
weird.
How is that a freshman? In what world is that a freshman?
Arkansas is 2-8. Wow. Do you question if this play call caught everyone by surprise?
You may have heard from my father that Arkansas is 2-8. Let's check in with the Arkansas offense, shall we?
Back to the quarterback. He's been more consistent after being very inconsistent.
Oh!
Come on, guys.
Oh,
what's wrong
that.
He's either got to go behind the quarterback.
Yeah.
Is that better or worse than the butt fumble? I'm honest. Like, come on.
The butt fumble. You can't compare that to the butt fumble.
come on. This
Where's
is-
your sense of history and perspective, Amin?
Prisoner of the moment.
That wasn't even the worst Arkansas play for that game.
That's not true. That
That's
had to
right,
be the
they're
worst
worse.
one.
Look at that.
No, this one's not going to be worse.
Come on. No.
Yeah, right there.
I like the way he crumbles to the ground like he just got shot.
That was almost a completion, a little bit higher, and it just would have gotten lodged in the face mask.
Time to play the game that finds baking to be very therapeutic. See or no?
That was not passionate enough. You were indifferent with your C or no. You tell us what to watch on television tonight. We tell you if we're intrigued.
Tonight on ESPN, Giants and 49ers.
Poppy's interested in Nick Mullins. He wants to see if that is for real. Chris Cody on the radio show said the smarter thing, which is the NFL should have a loyalty program where if you want to watch the Rams and the Chiefs next weekend, you have to watch this game tonight. Let's check in with a reason to watch tonight's game. Odell Beckham making a couple of one-handed catches against Washington.
Makes it look so easy. Look at this. Yoink.
And then 4th and 12, the Giants have been in a lot of that this season.
Oh,
That's
boy.
absurd. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What a gift.
Yes.
To be able to just put your claw out there and just snag anything.
You shouldn't be one win when you have those two skill guys that they have in New York. Amin, are you intrigued?
See, I'm very intrigued. Not just because I'm a good employee who wants you to watch ESPN programming, but also because this week I found out that the backup quarterback for the Niners is not named CJ Beathard, it's Beathard.
That's right. That's true.
I learned something.
How about you, Poppy? Are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Are you kidding me? Nick Mullins, this is my guy. I love when he faces, high-paid quarterbacks like Eli Manning that makes $25 million. He makes $400,000. And you know what the outcome is going to be? The $400,000 guy is going to be the out of the high-priced quarterback. That's what is going to happen because that's what happened last time he faced a high-priced quarterback. He beat the out of Card, in Oakland, Card was making about $45 million, and this guy only got about $400,000. So if you beat Eli Manning tonight, right there and then you got to ask for an increase in your salary. Nick Mullins, a name that you'll never forget. That's right.
It's Mullins. What do you
Look,
Mullins.
It's not Mullins.
Look, if Beathard can be Beathard, then Mullins can be Mullins.
You know what? Fair enough.
In China, the Shandong Golden Stars and the Shanghai Sharks.
Jimmer Fredette, you remember him. He's out of BYU. He's a shooter. He scored 75 for China the other day. Less impressive when you consider that Pierre Jackson had 63 for the other team, but here is 75. We're not going to show you all 75. We're just going to show you jumpers from long range.
You forgot the most important stat there is, Dan. Pierre Jackson got the W. How about that?
Way to go, Pierre Jackson.
Yeah.
Scored 63 in China. Amin, are you intrigued?
Absolutely not.
Okay, very good. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued, but I know now where Carmelo is going. He's going to China, you know, he's going from the Rockets right to China. You know, he might score 20 points in China. I'm telling you, that's going to be my prediction. Playing in China,
He's
you know.
going to foul up the
that's
chemistry
right, that's
of
right.
the Chinese team, and he's going to come back to the States.
You guys need to leave Melo alone.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Thanks to Amino Hassan for helping.